Boom, boom. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, it is your boy TJ. And today I want us to focus more around evictions. Evictions, evictions, evictions. What is evictions? Who needs to be knowing about evictions? Well, the word on the street says that if you're a property investor, at any given time in your life, you are going to be faced with this problem. Is it a problem or is it an opportunity? Well, my name is Taurai Jack, and I'm a property investor myself. And across the country, well, how many tenants now do we have? Just over 200 tenants. But over and above that, an additional 350 students that we have. So the reality, if we are to take in the statistics, is that at some point we may have to be forced to evict someone. Is it true or is it not true? Well, I've had these problems in the past, but they were not my own doing. I should say that. I want to put that disclaimer up front. And I want to say that within our own stable, I don't think that we have ever had to have a problem of evictions. Let's talk about it. Whenever you're buying a property, and this is one thing that we do at M5 Property Addicts. And each time we have veered off from this process, we have had problems. And then in terms of evictions. So I'm going to talk about, in general, evictions today. And then I would deep dive in a little bit further in some other areas on the types of evictions. What can you do and how can you work around it? But now, let's talk about it. When you are buying a property, I see always at any given time, this is one process that we follow all the time. Again, we're talking about evictions, but I want to start to talking about where does the problem actually start? Because when you're evicting someone, it means that there is a process. There is something that's broken within your process. And this is what I want to dive into. So let's talk about the process first of how do you actually get to have a tenant in your place? And for some of us, we might not know this process, but this is the pinnacle of actually you having to either evict someone or not evict anyone, right? So you're in the business, at some point you have to do this, or at some point you're going to be faced with the eviction process. Okay, so let's start off, number one, within the process of you getting in someone on board. Now, you've got your place, you have done it very well, it's a beautiful place, and you've put in your heart into it, you have painted it well, you have gone out to the bank have given you a loan, and you've got a mandate to actually pay the bank. And now you're thinking that you can go out there and make money so that someone else can come in and live in your place, pay you rent. And when they pay you rent, you can pay the bank. That's someone else paying off your bond. We all know that. That's buy to let, isn't it? Can you do it on a normal house? Yes, you can. Can you do it on a small 2-bed, 1-bath? Yes, you can. Can you do it on a big blocks of flats like I do? Yes, you can. Can you do Airbnb? Yes, you can. Can you do it in student accommodation? Yes, you can. What am I doing here? I am giving you some of the strategies that you can do for buy-to-lets. There's many of them, right? Short-term, long-term, different strategies, whatever your stroke is. But I want you to talk about how do you then vet this person here, right? So you've got this individual now. They come in. I don't know how you're going to advertise. Maybe you're going to put a placard outside and says to let. Or maybe you're going to have an estate agent. Let's walk through the process when you are putting a board outside and you go on to Gumtree and any of these cheapy sites where you are going to put in your own board and you are vetting that tenant on your own, right? So this is you bought your property, you zhushed it up, and you are going to rent it out normally, long-term at 12 years, 12 months, because you want to be able to pay the bank. What is the process? Okay, now they come in. They come in fast and furious, and then they say to you, hey, we want to come in and move in. And then somewhere along the line, people are going to come in, they're going to view your property. You're going to say, this one, I think I like them because of the way they look, right? I think this one, I think I like them because, yeah, I can overpower them when I'm talking. Yes, so they can come in and stay. That is the wrong process. right? That is the wrong process. It's not about the looks of the individual. It's not about, anything else that presents themselves. It's about the paperwork. When the bank asked you, when you went to the bank and you asked for the bank to give you a loan for whatever that 2-bed, 1-bath it is, how did the bank vet you? They ask you for your ID, isn't it? They ask you for your payslip. They ask you for all of this documentation to see whether you qualify. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the same process that you need to follow. It's not about, what kind of a car they're driving. What is the process that you follow? I like a website that is called tpn.coza. I'm not affiliated to them. I just like their work. Big up to Michelle Dickens and her team. I like what they have done in South Africa. They have put in data that can allow us to be able to vet tenants, that allows us to be able, you can even have contracts on there. Now it sounds like I'm selling TPN. It's not that. I just like them. They have made tools available for you and I, people who are serious about property. So out of that, you go onto this website, subscribe to it. When you subscribe to it, use it as a tool. Let's go back to that person, John and Susan, that are going to come to your house. They will come to your house, whether this is a 2-bed, 1-bath that you are renting out. Your advert is now on fire, right? You're getting so many people coming in inquiring. Your phone is buzzing all the time. So what do you do now? You're going to ask them for all of their credentials so that you can vet them. So what do you need to do? Read about vetting tenants on TPN. The process is pretty simple. You get to have someone's ID, you check in whether they qualify. If they qualify according to your parameters, yes, TPN is going to give you its own parameters, but what are your parameters, right? You need to set your own parameters. If someone is good, are they good for you? If someone is best, are they good for you? So you need to measure that. So that's the first thing. So subscribe to a channel like TPN. There's many of them out there. I just like TPN, so I'm going to talk about TPN. You vet them from a credit perspective. Can they afford? What is their salary, right? They need to give you their salary slip so that you can see for sure that these guys are employed. Can you double check with their employer? Call the employer. Hi, how's it going? Does John and Susan work there? How long have they been working there for you, right? All of those things. What kind of a business is it? Because this is the same person who's going to be staying with you for a year, maybe 3 years, 4 years. So you need to be understanding where they are coming from, who their employer is. What if the employer is a fly-by-night? Right? You also get that. So which means that if it's a fly-by-night company, in 2 months' time, that person might not have rent to pay. And then now we need to evict. So we're talking about the process of eviction here. But eviction, it's not something that just pops up. It comes from a broken process, and this is the process that we are talking about. Let's go back. How do you vet them? TPN I've mentioned. There's plenty of others out there. And then out of that now, some other due diligence that you need to do on the individual. Who is going to be staying in the house? Are they credible people? Like, how many people are going to be staying in this house? Are you likely going to be able to sublet if they want to sublet? Is that something that you want to allow? Are you going to have pets in your house? Is that something that you want to do? All of these things, right? Now, why am I talking about all of this? It's because at some point in time when you're evicting, you now need to know how many people you're evicting and how many snakes and dogs and sharks are in the house for you to evict them. So you now need to know that. But if you don't have these processes in the first place, then how are you going to be able to evict these people? Well, now that we have covered that whole process, the question now is, how then do you evict this person? If you have done it correctly, I want to speak about something else. Elize Roux, she's got a product, right? Expello. And this product here actually makes sure that if you are vetting your tenants correctly and you have Expello with you, I want to almost look at it. I know Expello, they're always saying that, it's not an insurance, but when I look at it from a client perspective, I'm like, this is my eviction insurance actually, because what they do from Expello is that they can, whilst you are vetting in people coming in, when you register and sign up for them, You're going to pay a small subscription, and out of that, if ever you need to evict someone, then you don't have to do it. Expello will do everything for you. Check out their website, expello.co.za. With those two products that I've just mentioned, TPN and Expello, I think you'll be able to sleep at night if ever you need to evict someone. But it doesn't start from just evicting someone. It comes through from your broken process of intaking someone, bringing in someone into your place, vetting them to see that, is this the kind of person that you want to? So before we even think about evicting someone, let us start talking about what is your onboarding process. How do you bring in someone into your place? How do you check? So let's talk about it. Number one, do they qualify to actually stay in your property? Number two, can they afford actually to stay in your property? Number three, how many people are staying in your property? Number four, are there any vicious pets that are going to stay on your property? Number five, out of all of these, right, what do you, remember this is your property, right? What are your rules and regulations, right? Do you have that? And if you don't have that, sit down, think about it. And the other question is, do you want to vet these persons or these people on your own? Or should you hire the experts? My view is that if there are experts out there, people who are qualified to do this, I will give it to them. But in the meantime, I am going to pause here and say, I hope this video here has been able to help you in terms of just having the process in, and then that way you never need to evict. It makes sense, doesn't it? So if you have these processes in place, potentially you don't need to ever evict anyone.